Aldrin Sampear joins us live from Luthuli House. Aldrin, good afternoon to you once again. Certainly a change in tune. When we spoke earlier, you mentioned that this was about closing in on ranks, so it's all about keeping up a united front. Take us through the points of the briefing.
Well, definitely. Interestingly, Natasha, now that you've mentioned United Front, there was a question that was asked by a reporter, specifically from ANN7, asking whether the ANC NWC leaves this meeting or left the meeting united. And Gwede Mantashe says that the ANC does not leave the NWC united, saying he did not say that. Saying as well, which was quite interesting, is that President Jacob Zuma does not remain the president forever, which was also something quite interesting. And one needs to then ask the question, what happens now going forward? There is the issue, of course, of the national vote of no confidence against President Jacob Zuma, the motion of no vote of confidence, rather, against President Jacob Zuma that has been brought by the DA. If that motion is being heard in Parliament, Gwede Mantashe has made it clear that he does not expect ANC members, or even those who are disgruntled, to vote against what he calls the ANC. He says that he makes the comparison or an analogy of soldiers, saying that soldiers cannot take the command from other generals, from generals which are not their generals, referring to the DA, referring to opposition parties within Parliament. But quite interesting as well is that he says that if anything at all, if there is a motion in Parliament, that should be a motion that's being brought by the ANC, and ANC members will then vote for that motion because it's a motion that's being brought by the ANC. And this is interesting considering some political analysis, and I think it was COSATU as well as the SACP as well, who have said that the ANC MPs in Parliament should not vote with the opposition, but rather they should call their own motion of no confidence against the president and only vote on that motion of no confidence. So now we have heard here from the Secretary General of the ANC that a motion should only be voted for when it is being brought by the ANC.
And Aldrin, something else that there seems to be a bit of a change on was Mantashe saying that they were consulted on the change of the finance minister, but Duarte earlier had said that there was no consultation. Just give us a bit of clarity on that. Did they know or didn't they know?
Okay, so what Jesse Duarte was basically saying is that far back as in November, President Jacob Zuma had consulted with the top six and told them that his relationship with Pravin Gordhan has broken down irretrievably. They then advised him back in November already that this is not the time to reshuffle cabinet. However, you can wait. I think that's the sentiment that came out of that first consultation. And now again, the president has made that call during the last meeting that he is reshuffling cabinet. What they had understood was it was only Pravin Gordhan who was going to be removed as the finance minister, considering that his relationship with President Jacob Zuma has broken down irretrievably. What they did not know is that the extent of the cabinet reshuffle, that it would include 3 other ministries as well. And that is what they say that President Jacob Zuma did not consult them on. And that's the reason why Gwede Mantashe again said here today that we did not know, we did not see this list before. And remember that this is a statement that he made before, saying that the list was compiled somewhere else. And remember that when he made that statement that the list was compiled somewhere else on Friday, some of the inferences that were drawn was the list could have been drawn outside of the ANC, and there could have been influence on who becomes minister in the executive, or part of the cabinet executive. And because of the number of questions that are being asked, and that's the difficulty I think we find as journalists, because of the number of questions that are being asked at press conferences, a number of questions are being taken. Some questions are not being answered directly. For instance, one of the questions that I raised with you earlier on as well was a question where Gwede Mantashe said that according to the resolution of the ANC's Mangaung conference, that the president of the ANC is the president of the country. It must remain that way, and that's the reason why they can't recall President Jacob Zuma. The question that was asked then, what happens in the case where President Jacob Zuma, according to his own accord, decides that he wants to resign as president of the ANC? Will the ANC then prevent President Jacob Zuma from resigning? And that's a question that was not answered as well.
Very interesting. Aldrin, thanks so much for that. Aldrin Sampear live from Luthuli House after that very lengthy, very interesting press conference.